Watu wengi walizamishwa pale Yala, wengine waliwekwa Athi River, wengine waliwekwa sijui river gani.
Ladies and gentlemen, several Kenyans have been made to believe that Dr.Fred Matiang'i was the one who was behind the killings of River Yala.
Whether we start with Musandu, we come to Jacob Juma, we come to Kenei, we come to River Yala and everything else, let these things be investigated by an open public inquest.
In this conversation, I just want to give you an eye-opener as to who were these individuals who are behind the killings of River Yala. So please stick around as I'm going to expose to you this critical information. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to kickstart this conversation by asking you a simple question. Now, this is the question. Where was the DPP? Where was the DCI? And where was the Inspector General of Police? Can we assume that the first and the second in command by then are clean? If you answer these questions accurately, you are actually going to rule out the notion that Fred Matiang'i was solely the one who was behind these killings. Most of these River Yala killings happened during the last term of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's regime. That was from 2017 to 2022. Fred Matiang'i was the Cabinet Secretary for Interior Security. But these killings took place at that time. I just want to inform you, ladies and gentlemen, that lately, bodies are still being retrieved from River Yala. And that is a clear indication that there are individuals who are in the previous regime who are actually doing those killings and are still in the current regime of Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Is Fred Matiang'i the one who is still killing innocent Kenyans and dumping their bodies in River Yala? Now this is the catch, ladies and gentlemen. River Yala has been known to be a river of dead bodies.
21 bodies that have so far been retrieved from the river in the last 1 month alone.
And the bodies that are being retrieved from River Yala are bodies that are showing clear signs of police brutality and torture and extrajudicial killings. These are individuals, ladies and gentlemen, who are reported to be missing. And these individuals at one point landed in the hands of police officers, never to be seen again, but only to be retrieved from River Yala. Fred Matiang'i has shown direct interest in vying for presidency in Kenya come 2027. I know and you know very well that in Kenya, the police force is working with the orders from above.
Na tumeambia polisi, mtu yoyote mwenye atakaribia police station, piga yeye risasi.
And you know very well that the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And any order that comes from the president is actually executed by the police without even asking a question. And that is the reason as to why I believe that Fred Matiang'i might be in one way or the other involved in these killings, but he never did them alone. Now, the deputy president of the former regime, who is now the current president of Republic of Kenya, is in power. And these killings are still happening in the country. Why is it that Fred Matiang'i is still being actually linked to these killings? I think you can now understand that this is just a plot to actually mudsling Fred Matiang'i because he has shown direct interest in vying for presidency in Republic of Kenya. Several allegations and accusations have popped up linking Fred Matiang'i to these killings of River Yala and other related scandals.
Hata Matiang'i hajatuambia vijana wetu wa Yala River nani waliopeleka huko. Hajatuambia kulikuwa na meat grinder pale Lavington, vijana walikuwa wanasiagwa wanapotea. Hajatuambia.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to get this clearly. When William Samoei Ruto was inaugurated as the 5th president of Republic of Kenya in 2022, he vowed to actually put an end to police extrajudicial killings and put an end to River Yala killings.
The president gave directions to the country
during campaign and after we came to office, that it does not want to see extrajudicial killing. It doesn't want to see bodies in River Yala. It doesn't want to see bodies in River Tana. It doesn't want to see bodies in Abadeas of people who have been abducted and killed.
That was a move that made William Samoei Ruto to disband the Special Service Unit. He said categorically that in his regime, those killings are not going to happen. If you look at Kenya right now, there have been a lot of cases of police brutality and police extrajudicial killings. We can actually take an example of the brutal murder of blogger and teacher Alberto Juang in police custody. We cannot forget the blatant shooting of a mask vendor in Nairobi CBD, that is Boniface Kariuki. And to make the whole matter worse, the killings of the Gen Zs during protests by the police. Several Gen Zs have actually been killed under this regime of William Samoei Ruto. And that, ladies and gentlemen, should actually send a signal to you that it was not Dr. Fred Matiang'i who was behind the killings of River Yala, despite the fact that these killings actually took place during his tenure as the Cabinet Secretary for Interior Security. Ladies and gentlemen, politics is usually a dirty game. And Fred Matiang'i has actually vowed to make William Samoei Ruto a one-term president. And due to the fact that Fred Matiang'i is now vying for presidency in Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto's regime is in a very deep panic. And several people, especially bloggers who are pro-William Samoei Ruto, have been paid to spread false information pertaining to Dr. Fred Matiang'i that is aimed to unpopularize his presidential bid. Fred Matiang'i has come clean on this matter. He has called for open investigations into the killings of Chris Musando, Jacob Juma, and the River Yala killings. President William Samoei Ruto is part and parcel of the government that is leading these killings, the killings of young people. Out of this conversation, you can bear with me that it was not Fred Matiang'i who was behind the killings of River Yala, because even up to now in William Samoei Ruto's regime, these bodies are still being retrieved. Bodies that are being retrieved are showing clear signs of police brutality, torture, and extrajudicial killings. The victims of the River Yala killings have not even been compensated, and the government has not come out clean on who is conducting these killings. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for now. If you have any other contrary opinion, the comment section is open. Just type your comment. I'll do my best to read it and to respond to it. Without further ado, let's meet in the next one.